United Nations proposal filed by Global Robotics Corporation filed under Environmental Justice and AMP. Legacy Military Waste Cleanup Initiative proposed to United Nations Environment Programme, UNEP, UNESCO, UNODA Submission Date, January 2026 Executive Summary. Camp Century, constructed in 1959 beneath Greenland's ice sheet, is an abandoned Cold War U.S. military installation originally tied to Project Iceworm, a secret program intended to test subterranean nuclear missile launch infrastructure. Despite its scientific cover story, Camp Century was powered by a PM-2A nuclear reactor and abandoned in 1967 with no comprehensive cleanup of hazardous waste. Due to accelerated Arctic ice melt, toxic and radioactive waste, once thought safely entombed, is now at risk of exposure to the biosphere, with projected environmental impacts reaching as far as the North Atlantic food chain. This proposal seeks United Nations support to conduct international remediation and risk reduction, apply advanced robotics and clean technologies, transform Camp Century into a peace technology memorial site, develop precedent-setting intergovernmental cooperation models for legacy military waste too. Current conditions and AMP. Risks. Environmental threats. Over 200,000 liters of diesel fuel left beneath the iced radioactive cooling water from the PM-2A reactor remains on site. Polychlorinated biphenyls, PCBs, and chemical solvents threaten wildlife, oceanic currents, and Arctic communities. Ice sheet thinning may expose these materials as early as 2090, with melting trends accelerating exposure. Geopolitical and AMP. Legal Concerns Treaty. Ambiguity between the U.S., Denmark, and Greenland causes a lack of accountability. No binding framework currently exists to manage Cold War military waste in melting cryospheres. Failure to act sets a dangerous precedent for abandoned defense installations worldwide. 3. Proposal objectives. Secure, stabilize, and remove hazardous materials using next-gen environmental robotics. Establish a neutral, internationally supervised remediation dome at Camp Century. Convert the location into a UNESCO heritage and AMP education site. Create a peaceful technologies treaty clause for future Arctic sovereignty agreements. IV. Proposed remediation and AMP transformation phases. Phase 1. Mapping and AMP. Environmental Diagnostics, 2026-2027, satellite, drone, and litter scans. Quantum resonance sensors for radioactive detection. AI modeling of ice melt and contaminant pathways. Phase 2. Contaminant Retrieval and AMP. Risk Containment, 2027-2029. Deploy autonomous cryo-diggers and biohazard drones. Extract diesel, PCBs, and radioactive isotopes. Utilize on-site vitrification, glassification, and cryogenic pumps. Package and ship materials under IAEA-certified containment. Phase 3. Ecological Recovery and AMP. Bioremediation, 2029-2030. Introduce native microbial and AMP moss species structure harmonic frequency fields, e.g., 432 Hz domes. Employ atmospheric harmonics and Earth-resonant vibration for ice healing. Phase 4. Memorial and AMP education infrastructure, 2030-2031. Build a peace dome with resonant architecture. Install a living database of Cold War-era technology and treaties. Develop a virtual simulation of what we learned from the melt. Budget outline. Phase estimated cost. Diagnostics and AMP mapping, $25 million. Hazardous waste extraction, $150 million. Bioremediation and AMP ice stabilization, $80 million. Memorial infrastructure, $45 million. Total $300 million minus $350 million USD VI. Request to the United Nations Global Robotics Corporation and its partners. Formally request UNEP and AMP UNESCO support in establishing Camp Century as a priority environmental site. Funding inclusion under Arctic Environmental Emergency Trust, or similar frameworks. Multilateral task force deployment, including Greenlandic, Danish, and U.S. observers. Establishment of a UN Peace Technology Remediation Initiative, PTRI, to address similar sites globally. 7. Conclusion Camp Century stands as a monument to both Cold War ambition and short-sighted environmental planning. As it now becomes a literal melting point, we must decide whether the United Nations will rise to meet this challenge. Let us reclaim this buried city, not as a military relic, but as a place of healing, learning, and commitment to peace technologies for future generations. We cannot freeze the past, but we can heal what thaws. Respectfully submitted. Robert Coley, Global Robotics Corporation UN PSTEC Observer Affiliate, proposed. Bob Coley at Outlook.com